Diddy's charges explained, the sentence he can't escape. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the possible outcomes in the Diddy trial, and also um, he has a mandatory minimum sentence. And I'm not even looking at the RICO for a second. I'm looking at that mandatory minimum sentence. That's a problem. Mandatory minimum is 15, and we're going to go over that charge, but we're going to go over the possible outcomes in that situation right there. We're going to go, like I said, we're going to go over the possible outcomes of the Diddy trial, now entering its final phase. Reason why I say it's entering its final phase is because the government will be resting their case Monday, and then the defense will be taking over, presenting their case. They said they could be done as early as Tuesday or Wednesday, which means both sides would have rested their case. And now we move on to the next phase, the final phase, which is jury instructions and closing statements. The government goes first, then the defense with their closing, and then the government has a rebuttal closing. So that's what's going to happen in the final phase of this trial here. So like I said, here we are. Here's the key possible outcomes in the Diddy trial, now entering its final phase. Now we're in the home stretch. It's in the final phase now. And it seemed like this trial went by rather quickly. It seemed like it, but as far as I think it took too long for the government. I think 6 weeks is too long. I would say 3 weeks would have been better, but 6 weeks is too long for this to drag out, because the jury can get bored. And quite frankly, I mean, both sides did a good job, but there was points where I was falling asleep, even when I attended the trial. I'm talking about when I attended the trial, I was falling asleep in certain areas. I wasn't even falling asleep during Jane's testimony. Okay, so that's not good. So you have to be able to keep that attention. But as far as the closing statements, that person is going to have to be able to keep the jurors' attention. Now, for the defense, they got to hammer home what reasonable doubt is, because they need the jury to understand what reasonable doubt is. And so that's what they got to do. What is reasonable doubt? Okay, they got to hammer home what reasonable doubt is, man. In the closing, I recommend. I heard someone say that. Now this is their opinion. I think they're just hating, but it's just their opinion. They said Brian Steele isn't that good and Nicole Westmoreland isn't that good. That's how I know the person is being biased. Either that or the person's an idiot and not knowing any better. And when I call somebody idiot, I mean, I am being kind of like, I am being kind of strong when I choose my words, but these are really fine attorneys here. And unfortunately for Diddy, they had somebody bought these YouTubers off. I'm pretty sure of it. They bought and paid for it. And I'm not sure why he didn't have his YouTubers on his side. Not sure, but that's just a side statement. That's just a side note here. He's a media guy. He knows more about the media than a lot of people. He should have had his own YouTubers on deck to counteract some of these what these YouTubers are doing, because they're lying. And as it stands right now, I really don't believe that the government has a problem. They're gonna the government. I just talked about the defense and the closing. The government has to do the same thing. They can't put the audience to sleep, the jurors to sleep. Not just the audience. The most important is the jurors. You can't put them to sleep in this closing statement, because you already prolonged this trial. That's already a problem, that the trial lasts as long as it did. So you want to make sure that this is not a dull closing. You want to keep their attention. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to argue this. Which side that keeps them engaged the most, they're going to win this. It definitely is. So let's get to the possible outcomes again. Now entering its final phase, guilty verdict. If the jury finds Combs guilty of any of the charges, racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, transportation for prostitution, the sentence could be life in prison with at least 15 years for the sex trafficking counts. The jury must be convinced beyond reasonable doubt that non-consensual sex occurred and was tied to racketeering. Prosecutors have presented eyewitness videos, texts, physical evidence, like the freak off footage and drug fueled party testimonies, or drug fueled freak off testimonies. What's the other outcome? Not guilty verdict. For acquittal, the defense must raise reasonable doubt by persuading jurors the encounters were consensual and not part of an organized criminal enterprise. If Combs choose not to testify, some say that's a move to avoid risky cross-examination. If jurors find witnesses' credibility lacking or the evidence ambiguous, he could be found not guilty or partially acquitted. Now, let me just stop right there for a second. I had said before that the defense must, please give me a like. That'll be greatly appreciated as you come in. For a full acquittal, the defense must raise reasonable doubt. They must do it. They must raise reasonable doubt. They must raise reasonable doubt. And how to do that? They have to talk about it. They have to poke holes in the government's presentation. And again, if the jurors find witnesses' credibility lacking or the evidence ambiguous, he could be found not guilty or partially acquitted. Hung jury, mistrial. The jury has already faced setbacks, illness-related delays, jurors' dismissals due to residence issues. Hung jury, unable to reach unanimous agreement, could force a mistrial if prosecutors believe they can correct weaknesses. They might bring charges again. Defense has previously argued that concluding certain jurors could warrant a mistrial. Defense had previously argued that excluding certain jurors could warrant mistrial. Partial verdicts, that could happen as well. Jurors could convict on some accounts, racketeering, and acquit on others, sex trafficking. That's what he needs. I'll come back to that later. Let's say if they convict on some counts like racketeering and acquit on others like sex trafficking, he's good to go. It's going to be up to the judge how much time he get. Because the racketeering, I will get into the mandatory minimums and all that stuff in a second. I'm not even worried about that racketeering. I'm worried about the sex trafficking. That's what I'm worried about if I was him. Okay. I mean, obviously, you want to be found not guilty on everything. But yeah, the outcome hinges on whether individual episodes meet legal thresholds, like finding non consensual force. Again, read it again. The outcome hinges on whether individual episodes meet legal thresholds, like finding non consensual force. Defense strategy and trial dynamics. The defense is relying heavily on consent based arguments and attacking the credibility of accusers, including Cassie Ventura and Jane. Key testimonies have already wrapped. Defense will likely present a short case, which they already said, featuring character witnesses, possibly Combs' children and employees. But he himself likely won't testify. So what do I mean by that? The only thing that he's presenting really next week, because they said they're going to be finished in 2 days. So that tells me they're only bringing character witnesses for short presentations. That could be his children. That could be his employees, like Christina Coram. But he himself likely won't testify. Because the reason why I say he won't testify is because it's such a short. They said they'd be wrapped up in 2 days. If they're going to be wrapped up in 2 days, he's not testifying. And also the jury cannot hold that against him. He has a Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. And the judge will tell the jury that, like, you can't hold that against Mr. Combs. At the end, Mr. Combs will stand and the judge say, are you testifying in your own behalf? That's what's going to happen. He have to stand. And the judge say, Mr. Combs, are you electing to testify on your own behalf or not? He's going to say no. He said, have you consulted with your attorney and everything, and you know all the legalities? He's going to say yes. And he's going to sit back down. And then the trial will proceed. Defense strategy and trial dynamics. The defense, like I said, they're relying heavily on consent-based arguments now. They already attacked some of the people credibility already. So again, like I said, when the defense put on their case, like I said, character people, man. That's the only thing I can think of. The prosecution is set to conclude this case, and then the defense will present. Jury, the trial timeline, jury deliberations could start as early as Tuesday or Wednesday and conclude before the 4th of July. That's what we're looking at right now. So in summary, here are the possible outcomes. Guilty verdict, minimum of 15 years to life. We'll get back to that in a second. What that means. Not guilty, Combs walks free on that charge, but civil cases still continue. So he gets to walk right out of that courtroom, but like I said, his civil cases still continue, which he probably more than likely will beat most of them. Hung jury, mistrial, possible second trial. A split verdict, partial convictions, sentencing depending on counts. And like I said, the prosecutor's case, we already know they discussed the freak off videos. The jury got a chance to see them. We went through text messages, how he prepped his drugs, stuff like that. Eyewitness accounts such as Brendan Paul and Capricorn Clark, Cassandra Ventura, Mia, Jane Doe, people like that. We also heard from Kid Cudi. Now, I want to go over these charges. Okay. The charges against Sean Diddy Combs' federal case. We're going to go to the minimum and maximum. If he gets it, I'm going to go over some scenarios here because he's charged with racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, transportation for illegal sexual activity, the Mann Act, conspiracy to commit sex trafficking, possession with intent to distribute cocaine and other drugs. He's innocent on that. I don't even have to go over that. Obstruction of justice, destroying evidence, witness tampering. So I know they say that they have about 5 charges against them, but when they start saying, when they get to the phase where they've already came up with a verdict, we'll know exactly. But this is what I have here, and I have a chart. So the statute, racketeering, conspiracy, RICO, 18 USC 1962D. Minimum, no years minimum. How about a maximum sentence? The maximum sentence the judge can sentence him to is 20 years, but there's no minimum. Now, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, 18 USC 1591A. The minimum sentence, get this, is 15 years. He has to beat this. I'm not even caring about the racketeering conspiracy for a minute. He has to beat that sex trafficking charge. That sex trafficking charge is a minimum of 15 years, meaning that the judge cannot go under 15 years. He cannot go over it. And the maximum, guess what? The maximum is life. And what I know from these federal judges, they're usually harsh. They don't play when it comes to these kind of crimes. So we're going to see. Transportation for illegal sex activity, the Mann Act. There's no minimum years, but it's a maximum of 10 years per count. Okay, a maximum 10 years per count. Per count. Conspiracy to commit sex trafficking, no minimum. That's 18 USC 1594C. The other one was transportation for illegal. Well, the Mann Act was 18 USC 2421. But the conspiracy to commit sex trafficking, 18 USC 1594C, no minimum. There's no minimum there. Same as the offense, 15. Same as completed offense, 15 to life. Possession with intent to distribute cocaine and other drugs, that's 21 USC 841A. That's a minimum of 5 years, depending on the quantity, up to life, if large quantity or prior offenses. He's not, I think he's going to be found innocent on that for sure. He's not distributing. He pretty much, these drugs were personal use and they were party favors. That's what he was doing. That's not distribution. Obstruction of justice, destroying evidence, 18 USC 1519 or 1503. No minimum, but up to 20 years. Tampering, witness tampering, 18 USC 1512. No minimum, maximum 20 years. Let's go back for a second to the racketeering conspiracy, which is the RICO. There's no minimum on that, but the maximum is 20 years. However, that sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, that's minimum 15 years. That's what they're trying to get him on. That's a minimum of 15 years. The judge cannot go under that. He cannot say, okay, well, I'll give you 2 years. He can't do that. It's the feds. He cannot do that. It's a minimum of 15 years to life imprisonment. I honestly believe the judge could give him at least 18 years on that. I think he's going to go above the 15 years. If he's found guilty, the judge is going to go beyond 15 years. And I believe all of this stuff is going to be concurrent. If he's found, let's say if he's found guilty on everything. Okay, if he's found guilty on everything, he's 15. That's 15 to life, right? But I think all the charges will run concurrently. All the charges will run concurrently, and he have to do at least 15 years or 13 years before he's eligible for parole. I think it's 13 years before he's eligible. But let's say if the judge say 18, 19 years, then he got to serve 15 years before he's eligible for parole. If all this run concurrent, if it runs consecutive, then I don't know what to tell you. If this runs consecutive, then I see this getting overturned. I don't think this should run consecutive because he doesn't have any priors. Well, actually, I heard he does, but it's been over 10 years since his last prior. It's been well over a decade. So if he sit up here and get consecutive sentences here, that's a problem. That's a problem. And I honestly think he'll have action in the appeals. That's excessive. It's excessive. I don't agree with the sex trafficking. I don't, because I don't believe, but see, this is a very dangerous situation. We don't know how the jury is going to react right now. And he really, guys, I honestly believe the deal that they gave him, they have not published the deal. So we don't know what deal that they provided, because we know that he was offered a plea deal. I honestly believe that plea deal was 15 years. That's what I believe. Because the only charge here that has a mandatory minimum, well, there's two charges. The possession with the intent to distribute cocaine and other drugs, that's a minimum of 5 years, up to life, depending on the quantity. But we're not worried about that. The sex trafficking, though, I honestly believe the judge will go over 15. These judges don't play in the federal level. They don't. So I have to look at some of his other cases. I'll do that in a second to see what type of sentence did he give to prior people. I'm going to find out. Okay, give me a second, but I'm going over these charges. This is a very dangerous case to take. A regular person would have taken the 15 years. A regular person. Okay. A regular person would not have gambled here. They would have taken the 15 years. That's why the feds have a high success rate. I'm not talking about conviction rate. I'm talking about success rate. They have a very high success rate because the average person don't want to fight them. However, Diddy did fight the feds, and this is what he's looking at. These charges are based on multiple witness testimonies and physical evidence, surveillance videos, text messages, testimonies about freak-offs and hotel nights and drug trafficking logistics. If convicted of the sex trafficking charge alone, like I said before, Diddy faces a mandatory minimum of 15 years and up to life in prison. RICO and conspiracy laws allow the government to charge Combs for overseeing or facilitating crimes, even if he didn't commit them directly. A conviction on multiple counts could lead to oh yeah, somebody just said it. A conviction on multiple counts could lead to consecutive sentences, especially if the judge determines the crimes were distinct and ongoing. Yeah, he's in trouble, because if he go consecutive, he has to finish each sentence at a time. If he goes consecutive, yeah, he's essentially, he can put him away, folks. It said again, a conviction on multiple counts could lead to consecutive sentences, especially if the judge determines the crimes were distinct and ongoing. And I said here, the judge cannot sentence Diddy to less than 15 years if he's convicted on sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion under 18 USC 1591A, unless one of these rare exceptions applies. Mandatory minimum 15 years. Federal law requires a minimum of 15 years of prison upon conviction. Judges are legally prohibited from going below that unless specific legal exceptions are met. The only ways to go below 15 years: substantial assistance. It's a 5K 1.1 motion. You probably heard this before. If you had any family members that went through the federal system, unfortunately, I have, so I've heard of it. It's called a substantial assistance. It's called 5K 1.1 motion. If Diddy cooperated extensively with the government, e.g., giving information on others involved, the prosecution could file a motion asking the judge to reduce the sentence. Diddy would essentially need to flip on co-conspirators. There is no indication he is cooperating at this time. Remember this. There's no indication that he's cooperating at this time. So you probably heard of that 5K1. It's called snitching. You probably heard of it. You probably either heard a lawyer talk about it, or you've probably heard it before. If he is cooperating, like I said, there's no indication that he is cooperating at this time. Guys, if he gets sentenced below 15 years, you already know why. You heard it here first. If he get caught on sex trafficking, that judge give him 3 years, somebody outside now could be biting their nails. They could be biting their nails now. They could be biting their nails. Or he could do it afterwards. Now let's talk about the safety valve relief. Only applies to certain nonviolent drug offenders with limited criminal history. Not available for sex trafficking or violent crimes like the one Diddy is charged with. Or we have to talk about it because that's the option: pardon or commutation presidential. If convicted and sentenced, Diddy could apply for presidential pardon or sentence commutation, which is entirely at the discretion of the president of the United States. So currently, sitting in office is the 45th and 47th president of the United States. It's up to his full discretion if he's going to give Diddy a presidential pardon. Guys, this presidential pardon is so powerful that as soon, like, let's say if they get ready to ship Diddy off to wherever he's going, right? Let's say if Trump just wanted to play with them. Say if he's getting ready to get shipped off to wherever he's going. I don't know where it is. North Carolina. He could go anywhere in the country, actually, because he's in the federal penitentiary. He's what we call the USP, the United States Penitentiary, which is also trading on the stock market. It's trading on the stock market, man. We'll get back to that in a second. So he could be getting transferred off, right? As soon as that presidential pardon comes, that bus has to stop and make a U-turn. It has to stop and make a U-turn. I've seen it happen. My cousin witnessed it. Now, at some point in Diddy's career, if he gets convicted, he has to go on what you call diesel therapy. I know you guys like, what the hell is diesel therapy? I didn't know what diesel therapy was either until my cousin told me. He said right when he was getting ready to get out, he was on diesel therapy. He was on a bus, like a Partridge Family bus, going around the country, and all he smelled is diesel. And he said he's going to different USPs that really don't have nobody in them, but they need somebody in them at that particular time so investors could come in and want to invest. I kid you not. I'm not lying to you. You can go research it now that you have the math on it. I've already gave you the mathematics. So go look. Did you know that we have so many people in the United States Penitentiary that it could be its own country? Think about that. We have so many people. It's almost like, how can I explain this? It's like there's a lot. Did you realize if all these people were released, I don't want them all released because some of these people are dangerous. It'll be crowded on these streets. You would notice the difference if all of them got released. You would notice the difference immediately. That's how many people are in the United States Penitentiary in state prison. It could be its own country. So it's something called diesel therapy. So you go into different USPs and you're on the road. You're on the road again. You're on the road, man. And you'll stay at one spot for a little bit. Then you get back on the bus. You go into another penitentiary. It's called diesel therapy. Now, my cousin said he was on a bus one time, and who was the president at the time? This has been a long time. It was President Obama. President Obama had just took over. He was already in prison already when President Obama had took over. This is in '08, right? Yeah, he was already. He was almost done with his sentence. He got sentenced in 2000. No, he got sentenced. No, I'm sorry. He got sentenced in 2002. This was right after 9/11. He got sentenced in 2002. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He was already 6 years into his sentence. And they were on the road. He don't know who this guy. Well, he know who the guy is now. I ain't gonna say it. The guy got a pardon from President Obama, and it was for a white collar crime. Did you know that bus had to stop? It was a call made. There was a call made and some logistics. So they had to stop because they were on the road. So they got a call. They stopped literally on the side of the road, and they were like, "Well, what do we do? Like, he's right here. We're moving him in train." He said, "Well, you got to get him off that bus." So they had to have another bus come and bring him to a nearest location, get him out of the clothes he was in, gone. This guy had money too. He was like, "You could drop me off wherever." That's how much money he had. He said, "Listen, you could literally drop me off on the side of the road and I'm good. All I need to use a cell phone, and my people will come get me wherever I'm at, or they'll set up a car service to get me wherever I'm at." So I think he had to go to wherever another bus came or car came and got him, and he was gone. He was gone. That was it. So, and it was because of the presidential pardon. So that can happen almost immediately. Um, so yeah, it was almost immediate that they had to let him go. They was on diesel therapy. They was going, and the guy was just as quiet as kept. He said he knew it was coming. And next thing you know, that the person riding and the people in the front, they got a call and they said, "Hey, sir, you just got a presidential pardon." They literally had to park on the side of the road. And he said, "Well, you could take the cuffs off me. I'll get out right here." And they was like, "We can't do that." They had to have another car come and get him. But he said, "Listen, let me just use your cell phone. I call my secretary, my assistant, and I give her my address, and I have a car, and I go straight to the airport." That's how much he was like a billionaire type dude or something. Only thing I can tell you is I'm not going to give you the name of the guy, but put it this way: he worked on Wall Street. He worked on Wall Street, and it ain't hard to find his name. He worked on Wall Street. Just put it that way. So, yeah, the presidential pardon is very, very powerful. So they could be getting ready to transport Diddy out of here, and as soon as that presidential pardon come in, they have to let him go immediately. Well, they have to set up some logistics to let him out of there, like just like that. He get his passport back. They got to give him that. They give him the rights to his jet back. That he can go. He can make arrangements for his jet to fly to Teterboro right then and there, and then he's out of here. Just like that, he's back into the world. Just like that. So the bottom line is, if he's convicted on sex trafficking under 1591A, the judge must sentence him to at least 15 years and cannot go lower unless the government requests requests through a special motion based on cooperation. Now we ain't gonna know that. I guarantee you, we're not gonna know that. If he cooperate, we're not gonna know. We're not gonna know, man. We're not going to know. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna do something. And we already know Judge Submaranian. He was also a clerk for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. He was the youngest appointed judge in the Southern District of New York. He was appointed by President Biden. Hold on. See if I can find it. Let's see how strict he is. Sorry, I had to go into another database. Should have had it already. I had it listed before. 2023. Let's see. So this is his first major trial in a high-profile criminal matter. Interesting. Okay. This is his most significant case, is a Diddy trial. So you know he's going to try to make a name for himself here. This is his most significant one. I'm trying to see if I can get a roster of his okay. One criminal jury trial, that's Diddy. At least one civil trial, Norris ADA case. Wow. Holy crap. Guys, this guy is fresh. This guy is fresh and new. One criminal trial so far he's presided over is Diddy. At least one civil trial, that's Norris ADA case. Plus other civil and pretrial matters, mostly scheduling orders and conferences. So he's just getting started. Hold on, let me find out something. All right, let's see. All right, so that makes sense. Judge Arun Subramanian of the Southern District of New York was formally commissioned as U.S. District Judge on April 13th, 2023. He was nominated by President Biden on January 23rd, 2023. Initial nomination on September 2022. Returned in renomination. And he was confirmed by the Senate on March 7th, 2023. We're just giving you a timeline of the judge. Yeah, he was confirmed by the Senate because he had to go through Senate confirmation hearings. That was on March 7th, 2023. They gave him the nod. He was commissioned on April 13, 2023, and officially began serving in the Southern District of New York bench that day. Soon as he was there. So let's go back to his action. Since receiving his commission on April 13, 2023, Judge Arun Subramanian has only been on the Southern District of New York bench for a bit over a year. So he hasn't presided over many trials yet. Here's a snapshot of his most notable cases on his timeline. United States versus Sean Diddy Combs. That's his first criminal case. This is his first criminal case. I knew it. I knew this was his first criminal case. I knew it. I knew it. And the status is ongoing. Okay. And number 2 was Norris versus XLR8 Limited Liability Company et al. It was a civil case under the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, regarding venue accessibility. Occurrence proceedings overlap with the Diddy trial in mid-June 2025. Guys, he's just getting started. This guy is fresh. He's just getting started. That's crazy. For his first case, he's on Diddy, his very first case. This is his first case, his first criminal case in the Southern District of New York. Judge Arun Subramanian. He is fresh. Because you know he had to go through a training period. I know you guys like, why did it take so long for him to get on the case? He had to, what they do is when you become a judge, you sit in on some trials and watch. That's what you do. You don't just go in and get going. You watch first. You know, you observe. This is his first case. His very first one. And look, his first case is a high profile one. And I'm gonna tell you something. For his first case, I think he's doing a really good job for his first case. I think he's doing a really, really good job. Now, here's other civil matters. He has issued scheduling orders and case management plans in civil cases, other patent-related or pretrial motions. So he's done that. Other known trials presided over Southern District of New York. One criminal is Diddy, and at least one civil. Yeah, Diddy is the only one. This is his first case since being appointed by President Biden. Okay, Arun, Judge Arun. Oh, I have another one for you guys. Okay, so we're gonna go over this right now. What happens if this ends in a hung jury? Will he get bail? Somebody was telling me, like, yeah, he's gonna get bail at this point. No, not really, not really, not really. A hung jury results in a mistrial, as we said before, under U.S. law. The double jeopardy clause does not prevent a retrial after a hung jury unless there's prosecutorial misconduct or intentional provocation of forced mistrial. The U.S. Attorney's Office may choose to retry the case, and the courts have permitted multiple retrials after repeated hung juries, though controversially. Bail eligibility post mistrial. Watch this. Once the mistrial is declared, Diddy would renew a motion for bail or release pending retrial. The court would reassess factors including flight risk. Here we go. Flight risk, danger to the community or witnesses, any new developments or evidence. Courts have the authority to modify bail conditions upon mistrial, either increasing or decreasing either increasing or decreasing them based on renewed evaluations. How likely is bail? Historically, Judge Subramanian has denied all bail requests from Combs. This is his first trial, so we don't have no other trials to go on from Judge Submaranian. Because that's what I was getting ready to do with you guys. We're going to go over his at least a couple of his trials, because I know he just got appointed. So I'm like, maybe he got at least 2 trials under his belt. No, this is his first trial. So we don't know how he's going to sentence him. We don't know. Woo boy, this is something. So historically, Judge Submaranian has denied all bail requests from Combs. Three prior bail motions were rejected, citing concerns about witness tampering, serious charges, and danger to the public. Now, look at this. This was according to a Reddit user discussing the trial. No, he can't get bail again. There has to be new evidence or substantial change of circumstances for the court to agree to hear other requests. In other words, simply a hung jury won't be enough. To succeed in bail motion, Diddy's team will need to present significant new arguments, such as new evidence of rehabilitation, a weaker risk profile, or substantially altered conditions. Furthermore, the judge will weigh whether any new bail conditions, whether it is monitored home confinement, would sufficiently protect witnesses and the public, something previously deemed insufficient. And it's going to be deemed insufficient again. Sorry, it's just going to be. But yes, he can legally renew his bail request after a hung jury. This is what I wish I should have bet the guy that was trying to challenge me on it. I wish, yeah, of course he can challenge for bail, but that doesn't mean he's gonna get it. He didn't get it before. Why would he get it now? So what will happen? He will have to sit right in jail until he have trial again. That's what will happen. He will have to wait and then have trial again. So now what I want to do is, all right, what I want to do now, we don't learned a lot in this video. Now we have to go through the appeals process. This is a possibility. So appeals process after the Southern District of New York conviction, verdict, and sentencing. If Diddy is found guilty, Judge Arun Subramanian will issue a sentence, years in prisons and fines. After sentencing, Diddy's legal team will file a notice of appeal, typically within 14 days of the judgment, per Federal Rule Appellate Procedure 4. Appeals to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. That's where his lawyer used to work at. She used to run that spot. You hear me? She used to run that spot. You hear me? She used to run that spot. So think about it. The Southern District of New York falls under the Second Circuit, headquartered in Manhattan. Diddy's attorneys will file an appeal brief arguing that there were legal errors during the trial, improper evidence, flawed jury instructions, constitutional violations, and ineffective counsel. The U.S. Attorney's Office, the prosecution, would then file a response brief defending the conviction. What would the appellate court review? No new trial or witnesses, but they only reviewed the trial record, transcripts, and legal arguments. A panel of 3 appellate judges will hear oral arguments, if granted, and issue a decision. So pretty much whoever his lawyers are going to be, they're going to have to go through this case with a fine-tooth comb to find legal errors that violated his constitutional rights to a fair trial. Now, what are the possible outcomes at the Second Circuit? Affirmed. Conviction stands as is. Everybody know that. It could be reversed. Conviction is overturned. Remanded, sent back to the Southern District of New York for retrial or resentencing. Partial relief. Some charges or sentences could be dropped, others upheld. Let's go back to reversed. That's what happened with Bill Cosby. Conviction is overturned. That's what happened with Cosby. And the reason why that happened with Cosby, if you don't know, is because the original deposition was not supposed to be used against him. It was an agreement already. And they reneged and he got out by way of technicality. He got out. Drop. Case is over. En banc review is optional. En banc review. If the panel rules against Diddy, his lawyers may request an en banc review. All active judges in the Second Circuit rehear the case. This is rarely granted, though. It's rare. Okay, you guessed it. If he exhausted there, he didn't get no relief there, what's the next step? The United States Supreme Court, which I think this case may go to, in my opinion. As a last resort, Diddy could file a petition for certiorari to the United States Supreme Court. The SCOTUS only takes less than 1% of the federal criminal appeals, believe it or not, less than 1%. Usually when constitutional questions or national significance involve. Key appeals considerations. Appeals can take months to years, man. If Diddy is in custody, he typically remains in federal prison unless granted bail pending appeal, which is rare. The appeal won't retry facts, though. Remember that. The appeal does not retry facts. The appeal won't retry facts. It focuses only on legal errors, judicial conduct, and trial fairness. That's it. You're not trying to bring in new evidence, nothing like that. Just legal errors, judicial conduct, and trial fairness. So I'm gonna try. I made a little timeline here. I don't know how accurate I am, but I did a little bit of a timeline on what's gonna happen. Trial conviction. Let's start there. Let's say this is only if he get convicted. Let's say July 2025. The reason why I say you're like, well, Max, wait a minute. This trial could be over before the 4th of July. No. If he's convicted, we come back for a sentencing hearing. That could be weeks from after he was convicted. All right. So I say July 2025, the sentencing follows. 14 days after July, in July sometime, a notice of appeal. That's within 14 days. Appeal filed to the Second Circuit. That's when Alexander Shapiro and all of them start getting to work. Brief and review. Late 2025, early 2026. Written arguments submitted. That's when I say written. It's briefing and review. So I would say late 2025, right before the last quarter of 2025 to early 2026, the first quarter. Written arguments are submitted for him on both sides. And I would say third quarter 2026 is oral arguments. The panel hears the case now. And I would say late 2026, I would say December, I would say before the new year, there could be a ruling. It's either going to be affirmed or reversed. And I would say sometime in 2027, this is optional, sometime in 2027, a petition, if applicable, to the United States Supreme Court. That's what he's looking at. And we're in 2025 now. It could take at least 2 years to get to the Supreme Court. So you might say, well, Max, what's the percentage? Guys, when I start giving you these percentages, you're going to be like, get out of town, man. When I start giving you these percentages from the feds I'm talking about appeals, oh, not good. The percentage chance of Diddy winning an appeal in federal court, specifically from the Southern District of New York to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, is very low. Very low. I'm talking about extremely low. Now, statistically speaking, I have to give you a breakdown because I just can't. I found this breakdown. This is a good website I go to, but I found a breakdown. I went specifically to the Southern District of New York, though. I want to know what cases get reversed over there. You know what I mean? So, but just as a whole, federal criminal appeals filed. You know how many is filed annually? How many do y'all think? Just give me an opinion. Just give me a number. How many appeals you think is filed annually in the federal system? Just federal criminal appeals filed. How many you think annually? Somebody give me a number. Nope, it's higher. Higher, celebrity. Let me give you the number. The federal criminal appeals filed annually is 5,000 to 6,000 annually. Now, out of that, how many do you think the Supreme Court is less than 1%? Less than 1%. The percentage of criminal convictions reversed or vacated is 6% to 8%. And read that again. The percentage of criminal convictions reversed or vacated is 6% to 8%. Guys, he need a pardon. He need a pardon, bro. He need a pardon if he gets convicted. Now, albeit, listen to me. I don't want to move further than I have to. I'm just giving you all the math right now, so nobody can tell you nothing. So once you get all this information, you already know it. You can't unhear this. Believe it or not, you can't unhear this. So if somebody say to you, Dom, tomorrow, well, if this is a hung jury, he's gonna get out. You're gonna tell them no. You're gonna tell them that Judge Submaranian, first of all, this is his first case. I bet you everybody that's listening now y'all all know this. This is his first case, his first criminal case. He hasn't given Diddy any bail in the past. What do you think he's gonna give it to him now? This is his first case since being appointed by who? President Biden. Okay? President Biden. This is his first criminal case. Okay. So again, let me read this again. The percentage of criminal convictions reversed or vacated is 6% to 8%. That's not a lot. The percentage affirmed, conviction upheld. Oh my God. Y'all ready for this? What's the percentage of convictions being upheld, which is affirmed? About 90% or more. Guys, the numbers don't lie. Men and women lie, numbers don't lie. We all know this. Men and women lie, numbers don't. The numbers will tell you how scary the feds are. Okay? When I say convictions upheld, that means they stay the same. About 90% or more. Well, you already know that because I've already said the percentage of criminal convictions reversed is 6 to 8%. So you just could have did the math there and came up with 90%, approximately. The Second Circuit covers the Southern District of New York. Reversal rates tend to be slightly below average in the Southern District of New York. The Second Circuit is known for being highly differential to district court decisions, especially in criminal matters. Guys, man, y'all, do y'all hear what I'm saying? This is crazy. You tell me this ain't crazy. Tell me that ain't crazy, man. That's unbearable kind of chances. That's like he needs a pardon. And I know I keep saying it because it's true. He needs a pardon. I mean, forget all the other stuff. It's just talk. He needs a presidential. He needs a presidential pardon. Stop playing with me. Okay? He needs a presidential pardon. So let's see what else we have here. What could improve Diddy's chances? All right, Carlton, what's the breaking news? Please tell me it's breaking news. You just said breaking news. What's the breaking news? We waiting on Carlton for the breaking news. So what could improve his chances? You guys already know this already. I'm not telling you guys something you don't already know. But I'm just going over this just so we'll know. I mean, just so we can just talk about it. You already know what could improve his chances. Clear legal errors by the judge. You already knew that. That could increase the chance of reversal or retrial. And the second one, you guessed it, constitutional violations. I just said if his rights are violated, unlawful search, biased jury, strong basis for appeal, ineffective counsel, hard to prove but may lead to remand. Now remember his well, you weren't there in court, but I was there that day. Xavier Donaldson argued to the judge, like, I need to talk to Diddy. We're having a hard time talking to him to be effective counsel. He said this on the record, to be effective counsel. So they can argue ineffective counsel because they said they couldn't talk to him. Max, we have a develop. I'm waiting for you to tell us a developing story. We waiting on it. We waiting on you, Carlton. What's the developing story? Because I'm live. We waiting on you. Guys, somebody say Carlton, we waiting on you. So we already went over ineffective counsel, improperly admitted evidence. These are all the things that you heard already, but I'm just going to listen to you anyway. Improperly admitted evidence might lead to partial reversal or retrial. Newly discovered evidence is rare, though, but must meet strict standards and be true game changing. He must be talking about Fat Joe. Oh, 50 Cent already addressed it. He said they lying on Fat Joe. 50 Cent already addressed that, saying that 50 trying to murk Fat Joe trying to murk 50 Cent. Fat Joe came out, 50 Cent just came out and said that was false. So those are all the things right there. So realistically, let's go over the likelihood again. Let's go over the realistic estimate for Diddy. As far as percentage wise, full reversal, conviction thrown out, 3 to 5% chance. Partial success, new trial or reduced sentence, he has a 5 to 10% chance. No change. Conviction upheld. 85 to 90%. So here's some of the key takeaways here. Most appeals fail in federal court, especially in the Southern District of New York. Diddy odds of winning a full reversal are slim unless a clear legal error occurred, mishandled jury instructions, evidentiary violation, or prosecutorial misconduct. If witness credibility, not law, is the issue, that won't help him on appeal. Remember this. If witness credibility, not law, is the issue. If witness credibility is the issue, but not the law, is the issue, that won't help him on appeal. Appellate courts don't second guess jury decisions on facts. I told y'all the jury is the most important people in the courtroom. Again, I'll say it again. If witness credibility, not law, is the issue, that won't help him on appeal. Appellate courts don't second guess jury decisions on facts. Okay? They don't. The jury is the most important people in the courtroom. It's not the judge. It's not the lawyers. Nobody. Not us. Our opinion don't matter. It's the jury. So that's it right there. That's what we have. We have a full, we've been fully educated on everything. Fully educated, and I understand all of this. So let's just go back over the judge for a second. Medea, did you know this is the judge's first criminal trial at the Southern District of New York? This is his first criminal trial at the Southern District of New York, Diddy's case. He was appointed. He became a U.S. District Judge for the Southern District of New York on April 13, 2023, nominated by President Biden. His education and career, he graduated from Columbia Law School, 2004. He clerked for the Supreme Court, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Notable, his first South Asian, he's the first South Asian judge at the Southern District of New York. Previously worked as a commercial litigator. High profile cases, Diddy trial, started May 5th, 2025. It's his most significant case so far. Has he imposed notable sentences before? The answer is no. This is his first major trial in a high profile criminal matter, so he hasn't previously handed down public sentencing in similar cases. Since receiving his commission on April 13, 2023, Judge Arun Subramanian has only been at the Southern District of New York bench for a bit over a year. Now, you guys might say, why is that? Because when they get there, they have to go through a learning phase. They usually sit in on cases. Okay. They sit in on cases to see how the OG judge go about his business. So you have a learning curve for a second, then you get on into your cases. But he did preside over Norris versus XLRB LLC et al. It's a civil case under the Americans with Disability Act, ADA, regarding venue accessibility. Occurrence, though, proceedings overlap with Diddy trial in mid-June 2025, so he's not done. But he's the youngest to be sitting on this district. He's the youngest appointed at this district. I think he's doing a really good job, by the way. Judge Subramanian is doing a really, for this to be his first high profile case, he's doing a really good job. It's almost like he's been there like for years. That's the way it seems. And you have to be there to see what I'm talking about. You guys are not going to get this. You have to be there to see it. He's actually, it's almost like he's been doing this his whole life. Yes, he clerked for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Yes. And also to note, um, Diddy's attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, she also clerked for Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but not at the same time as Submarinian. She's more of an OG than him. She clerked for her in the 90s. Okay. There's a lot of smart people on this trial, man. A lot of Ivy League educated lawyers on this trial right now. Diddy has at least two from the Ivy Leagues on his case. Actually, three. He might have three. He got a lot of brain power on his side. But again, who is the most important here? It's the jury. It don't matter if you went to Yale, but did you know all the jurors have degrees, right? Every last one of them. So he got a jury of, yeah, he got a nice jury. Not that you need a degree, but they all have it. That's just, I wanted to note that. So they gonna think this through. They're gonna think this through. And I believe, like I said, whatever the jury come up with, that's what they come up with. But yes, they are the most significant, most important people in the courtroom. You said that's why you're doing your best to stay away from court. Hey Carlton, what is the breaking news, bro? You're not telling us what the breaking news is. You said, did you hear about the late breaking news? Guys, what is the breaking news, man? Yes, I'm making it to closing arguments, Nicole. Yes. I will not be there Monday. I have to take mother to a doctor's appointment again. So unfortunately, I'm not going to make it there Monday. But yes, I will be there for closing. Yes, I will. I will be there for closing. But duty. Oh, Medea, did you time her out by accident? Con Nicole is cool. Yeah, my bad, Con Nicole. She timed you out for a minute. At least it was a minute. Medea said, my bad. Yeah, Con Nicole's not a troll. How long do I think deliberation is going to take? That's what I was going to ask you guys next. You said I meant to get that breaking news, dude. Yeah, but what is the breaking news? Carlton is not a troll either. He said, "No, I mean we've been waiting for the breaking news. That's what we're waiting on." He said, "There's breaking news." He said, "Clearly there's no." Okay, so he trolling. Carlton, you trolling then? He said, "Medea, do you hear the breaking news?" Like, bro, where's the breaking news, bro? Like, we waiting on it. So I feel you, Medea. I feel you because I'm like, bro, where's the breaking news? We waiting on it. We're going over possible outcomes here. And you said, bro, this breaking news. Like, where's the breaking news at? Yeah, just say it already. If not, you're getting blocked next time. Like, where is the breaking news, bro? Because I'm like, wait a minute. So, guys, we already went over the percentage chances of an appeal. The feds don't play here when they come, even with the appeals process. And I said, how many cases how many cases are filed to the Supreme Court of writ of certiorari? That's 5 to 6,000. They only take less than 1%. Okay, they hear that, and yes, Diddy is very high profile, so he might have a chance just because he's a high profile person, but that's not always the case. That's not always the case because there's a lot of high profile people that's locked up that didn't get relief. Okay. Um, so those percentages are very alarming. That's why I tell people just stay out of the way, man. So let's go look, a full reversal, meaning conviction thrown out like Bill Cosby. He has a 3 to 5% chance. No, he has a less than 3 to 5. No, sorry, less than 3 to 5% chance. Okay. A partial success, new trial or reduced sentence, less than 5 to 10% chance. Right. They're viewed just like regular inmates. In Medea, we just found out that they lying on R. Kelly, or R. Kelly people are lying. Did you know that he gets his medicine himself? He administers his own doses. So he may have tried to pull a fast one, but we'll get to that later, or we might not. No change, conviction upheld. I think that's something you probably want to break, Medea, on your channel. That'll be something good to break. I wouldn't break it here. I would wait to break it on your channel if you haven't broke it yet. I'm not breaking that because that's not my story to break. That's yours to break. Now, no change, conviction upheld. 85, and put your link in here so that if you break it, if you break that story, we'll know where to find you. Put your link. No change, conviction upheld. That's less than 85 to 90%. 85 to 90%. Yeah, he holds all his regular meds, no narcotics. That's some powerful entities, Howard. Yeah, put your channel there, Medea. I guess put both of your channels. You got 2 channels. So they'll know. I would say break that story, Medea, if you haven't broke the story yet. Because that's a major development. Whenever you decide to break it. But we just kind of gave you guys a taste. That's not all of it though. But I'm not telling you everything. But that's, you got to go to her channel for that. Whenever on the docket. Where are you gonna break that at, Medea? On the docket channel or the other channel? Probably on the docket, because that's her legal stuff over there. But if she decides to break that, y'all stay tuned. Because I was like, wait a minute, they like R. Kelly in there. Ain't nobody trying to murk him in there. They like him in there. Guys, they like him in there. They really look forward to him every day in there. He's not a bad inmate. He sings. You know, it's just that he's dealing with you know what I think, Medea? It finally hit him that he's not getting out. That's what happened. He's going crazy. My cousin said this, look, right, look, he was in the feds, right? So he's in the feds. So he's already got his sentence. He's already been in the feds 5 years, right? So you said they do, and he has a lot of friends on the yard, right? But look, check this out. So my cousin was in there for 5 years. So he was like a trustee or whatnot. When people just get sentenced and stuff like that, you know, they come there. And they usually watch you just depending on if you got a life sentence. But this guy had, you know, life without the possibility of parole, right? He said usually those people, you have to watch them for a while. You said the mods can go to any channel in the chat. Just click. Oh yeah, the mods. Yeah, the mods. You can go to any channel. Like you can click on Medea's name if you're a mod, right? Hey, what's up, Tarot Detective? Patients can't have their own meds in the hospital. They are sent to R. Kelly have his own meds in jail. Yep. But no, we're not going to talk about it here. That's for Medea. I'll go. So Medea, you got to go through on that on your channel. So I don't know, Medea. Like, when are you trying to go live on this? That's a developing story. I don't know if you did. You already go over this already? If so, give us the link so that we can have that knowledge. Because Medea's daughter works there, so she got the inside juice. I'm not giving it here because you got to go to her channel and get it. You said it's federal policy. They have a yep, they have a med pack. See, y'all got that right there. Y'all didn't know he had a med pack. Okay, not yet. Do you know a timetable when you're gonna try to break this story? That's a story that's worth breaking. But okay. That's a story really that's worth breaking. Give me a second, I'll be right back. Okay, tomorrow. So look for her to break that story at some point tomorrow. You said, what's the story? Then the news is not telling you everything about R. Kelly. They're not. And you know what I think? He may have come to the conclusion that he's not getting out. So my cousin said he was a trustee. So he had been in his spot for 5 years already. He didn't have that much time left, but he had 5. So right. He's a lying about being OD by the federal. He's lying. He just didn't think none of us knew that, but we have somebody in the chat that's gonna break that story. But he said this one guy came in, he got sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. So he said the people already got the intelligence from the county prison he was in, saying he was okay. They said, dude, he's doing amazing. Like, it's surprising that he's doing amazing. They said, really? He just got sentenced to life without the possibility? They said, yeah, and he's doing amazing. They said, yeah. But their protocol is they have to have somebody watch him, right, in the spot he was at. So when he got there, he's a trustee. He talked to him. He's like, hey, you doing all right and stuff? He said, oh, yeah, yeah, I'm fine. He said, I'll be out in no time. That's what he told him. He said, my lawyer working on it now. He said, he's going to call me next week and I'll be right out of here. And he said, when he started saying that, they all looked and say, okay, this is going to be a problem. Because we know that you ain't just going to be able to call your lawyer and you get out, everything is going to be all right. That don't work that way. You got to go through the appeals. He said, but where you at in your appeals? He said, you just got sentenced. He said, you filed your thing within 4. He said, yeah, I filed it within 14. He said there was an obvious mix up with the evidence. He said they're not going over evidence. That's what he was saying. My cousin saying in his mind, they're not going over evidence. But he said, yeah, there was an obvious mix up and the jury got the sentence wrong, but it'll be fixed in a couple of weeks and I'll be out of here. He said, all right, but you're doing all right though? He said, I have to watch you. I come by. He said, yeah, I'm fine, man. I'm just, I'm about to go back home and get back on my motorcycle, man. I'm about to go back home and I'm about to go on vacation. This is what he was saying to everybody. So he went out on the yard, right? So they was like, I guess he's okay. Like, he's not, 2 weeks had passed. He's on the yard. He's on the yard. So everything was fine, playing ball, everything. He telling people, yeah, I'm about to go home. And so they said, bro, you just got here. Like, really? He said, yeah. He was starting to convince them. That's how convincing he was. He's like, yeah, something happened. I can't really tell you. He said, you ain't snitching, are you? He's like, no, I'm not snitching. He said it was an error in the sentencing. He said there was an error or something, and the jury was supposed to say not guilty, but they got the wrong. He said they got the wrong jury instructions. That's what he was saying, and everybody started believing it because he was so believable. So like, damn, yo, really? He said, yeah. He said, the judge is talking to my lawyer about it now. And he said something he messed up in the jury instructions, and that's why they say he was guilty. So he said, yeah, they're going to fix it. They're going to have a hearing. And then once I go there, they're going to call the jury back. And then that's it. And once he said that, my cousin was like, they're not calling the jury back. That's how he knew he was lying. He said, wait a minute. So anyway, he still sounded convincing. The next, because so they took him out of the holding cell. They didn't have to watch it no more because he was all right. So he got him a celly, everything. They had like a pod where it's like a pod they were all on. And then on the bottom floor, people would be playing cards, chess. And then he said there's a door that actually leads out to the yard. It's right there. And sometime on a nice day, they keep it open. So you get fresh air in there. So, they go back and forth like that. And he said one day he was just on the yard and then he heard all this commotion. And be like, yo, 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 what the fuck? Yo, what the fuck? So he run back in there. The guards is like scrambling. The dude hung himself. Crazy, right? Yep. And things like that happen. Things like that happen, man. And he said they have to watch. He said, because if a person gets sentenced, he told me, he said it could happen immediately. He got another story. I'm going to tell you another story he told me. That was a quick story. That happened quickly. Sometimes it doesn't happen that quickly. He said in the system, you always got to have some type of hope that you're going to get out. Everybody has hope. Like just to see the light of day again, even if you got 20 years. But let's say you're eligible for parole in 18. After that 18, you're going to see light of day again. So he said your mind start planning for that day, right? But he said if you don't have no hope, like no hope is life without the possibility. Like you don't have no hope. They have different pods for those people. The lifers area, they have different areas. But usually, depending on where you are, they're all together. And he said once you lose hope, that's the day when things get dangerous. One day, a guy lost hope. His wife sent him a letter asking for a divorce. She was with him for 5-6 years in his bed. She said she got another man and she wants a divorce, and the man is sleeping in his bed. Okay. The kids stopped calling and he lost his appeal. So, what did you think he did? Yeah. Things like that happen. She said she moved on. She got another man. And he said that's the common thing why people lose it in there. Their spouses move on, get somebody else. And he said that's the reality. But he said it was this one guy, he says an old timer. He was about to get out. And they was like, yo, old timer, like what you gonna be doing when you get out? Like when people get out, he said that's an opportunity to get their stuff. Like it's like a tradition. Like somebody's leaving, they're not taking their TV with them. They're not taking their radio, they're not taking their TV, they're not taking his chessboard. At this point, the guy had his chessboard. He said, I'm giving it to you. I'm giving you my chessboard. He said, because this was given to me by another guy when I first came in. So now I'm giving it to you. It's like a tradition, like with some people. And he got his chessboard and some people got his TV. But he was like, I got to learn how to use a cell phone. Isn't that crazy? He said you know what his goal was when his daughter picked him up? She's going to take me to get an iPhone. That's what he wanted. He wanted to get an iPhone. Yep. And he told me about that stuff. That's like, wow, man. It's like, and then he was telling me there's some people in there that they got 25 to life sentences and they didn't kill nobody. They didn't R nobody. They didn't kill nobody. Just simple drug possession. Just with the intent to distribute. So it's crazy, man. But he said Trump was the reason why a lot of people, a lot of his friends are coming home. A lot of his buddies that he was up in there, they coming home because he signed something into law that's reduced their sentences if they had non-violent offenses. That's how Big Meech came home, if people don't know. Because Big Meech had did 20 to 20, almost 25 years, 20 years, I think. And when Trump put that new law in, that Unique Mecca Audio came home too. You know, he do videos on YouTube and then Unique Mecca Audio. That's how he came home. And that's how Big Meech came home. Big Meech didn't snitch. He came home because of those laws that Trump signed. You said, what did the man do whose wife won a divorce? I told you. He unalived himself. I didn't have to say it. I just stopped when I said it. He unalived himself, man. And he said it happens a lot. Like the unaliving, it happens a lot. And he said, but it happens a lot with older people. But he said, like that guy came in. He said, "Oh, I'm about to go home." He said, "Yeah, they messed up on the jury instructions, but they bringing the jury back." You know that's not possible. They don't bring the jury back. That this was all in his mind. It was all in his mind, yo. He said, "Yeah, they bringing the jury back and this, that, and the other. They're not bringing the jury back." I never heard of that before. Bringing the jury back after the trial is over because they messed up. I tried to get him on here. I'm like, man, you need to come on and tell some of these stories. He said, man, that's my past. I'll let you tell them. He said, I'm not trying to do that. He said, I got PTSD over that stuff, man. He said, some of them people were good dudes, man, that off themselves. But he said, it's a psychological thing. He said, you got to be in the law library. He said, because there's laws that's getting changed every year. There's new administrations coming in. They sign laws like Trump did. It might be applicable to your case. He said one dude got his sentence reduced because of judge misconduct on other cases. The judge had got investigated and kicked off the bench, and all the previous cases got their sentence reduced. So he was able to come home after that. You know, stuff like that. So you always got to keep researching. Um, he said there's programs you can get into. You said, what's the point of living in jail? He said, yeah, people come to that. He said, there's a difference. He said, okay. He said, yeah, if you go in there, you got a 10-year bid, right? He said, that's bad enough. That's a decade. That's bad. But you're still going to see the light of day. And your mind, he said, believe it or not, your mind adjusts to that 10 years. Like, because you start thinking about what's life like after 10 years. What life is going to be like? Who's going to be the president? You know what I'm saying? There's going to be another president. This thing's going to happen. Like you start thinking about, you start going through the years and you start like maybe getting in programs to like, you know, some people like learn a trade or something like that. But he says some people, when they first get sentenced, usually they go through a period where they have to be mad. You know, you have to go through that period. But he says some people, it could happen 5 years into their sentence. It just hit them one day that they're not getting out. And he believed that's what happened to R. Kelly. It just hits you one day. You could just be on the yard. You be like, damn, yo, I'm never getting out of here. I'm never getting out of here. Then you start thinking like, I ain't talked to a woman in all this time. You know, it really, it just, he said it hits you. But he said, hopefully the staff is there before it happened. Hopefully, he said, usually they're good with catching stuff like that. They're usually good with catching the signs. And they'll try to medicate you. But yeah, he said you do got to stay busy. He was in the law library. That was his hustle. He wrote he wrote he's what you call a jailhouse lawyer. He wrote appeals for people. I mean motions, excuse me. And then what he did was he would look at the person's case and he would see if they got action or not. Like that was his hustle. Um but he said one time it was a guy, he was playing chess, right? Real quiet guy, but everybody liked him. One day he just went out to the yard. Like that's not his normal routine. He just went out to the yard. It was like, yo, you good? He didn't talk to nobody. And luckily that time the guards were able to watch him because everybody know him. Like he was just he always talking. You know, he's quiet, but he talked to people. But he go out. He just went out, aloof, just went out, and they caught him because I think he was trying to he tried to do something to take his life. That's what he was trying to do, and they caught it in time, and they have to medicate you. So this is what Diddy is in for. Like you got to think about something real quick. So this guy has lived life like none other for the past 3 decades. I say 3 decades or more. 3 decades, 3.5 decades, man. Okay. And he's being restricted. He needs his family there. I'm glad his family is there comforting him. I'm glad they're there because he needs them. Even even what you call it, Judge Mathis. He said he think his daughter should be there too. And it was like, well, Judge Mathis, they don't want to hear all that. He said, no, they need to be there to comfort him, just in case. It's a serious matter, man. And I often think about that when I go over the percentages. A realistic percentage for appeals, a full reversal in is less than 3 to 5% chance. A partial success in the appeals, new trial, or reduced sentence is less than 5 to 10%. No change, conviction upheld, that's 85 to 90% chance that the feds still win. You said no, that part is wrong. Which part? About his daughters being there? That's what Judge Mathis saying. He said they should be there to comfort him. He needs as many people as he possibly can to comfort him during this time because he don't know what the sentence is going to be. He said he would sentence him on the drugs to less than a year on the drugs part. He said, okay, realistically for the drugs, I'll give him less than a year. That's it. And for the something else, I give him a year, and that's it. I let him go. He still don't have him on the RICO yet. But see, we went over this already. The RICO, that's not the problem here for me. That's not the problem for me, man. The RICO. The problem for me is, hold on, where is it? Um, there's one here that is not good, man. Like, okay, let me go over the chart. Okay, the racketeering conspiracy, that's 18 USC 1962 D, right? it doesn't have a minimum, but it can go up to 20 years maximum. So you do have to beat that still. But the sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, that's a minimum of 15 years. The judge cannot sentence him below 15 years. And he's 55 years old. It's 15 years to life imprisonment. But they said if he's convicted on multiple counts, some of this stuff can run consecutive. That Mann Act, oh yeah, the Mann Act is okay. Well, the Mann Act is transportation for illegal sexual activity. Mann Act. That's 18 USC 2421. There's no minimum on that, but it's up to 10 years per count. How many counts did they get him in under the Mann Act, though? That's my question. How many? How many counts? Because it's up to 10 years. That could run consecutive to count two, which is the sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. What if the judge sentenced him to consecutive years, not concurrent? Whew. This is something else. Okay, okay. Let's just say that, kind Nicole and Deborah. Two counts of that. That's 20. That's a max. That could be up to 20 years. Cassie and Jane. But what about the workers? But let's just say Cassie and Jane. Yeah, 2 years. Okay, how about this one? Sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. How many counts? Because he's facing a minimum of 15 years to life imprisonment. How many counts? Force, fraud, or coercion. Is it Cassie and Jane? Remember, Jane told the story saying that they got into a fight and she had to go do a free call. Is he facing two counts on that? Because that's a minimum of 15 years apiece. That will be concurrent, though. Yeah, guys, it's not good, man. But just to let you guys know, I did a lot of research. If you go back to the beginning till this is just kind of filler talk now. We just kind of talking amongst each other, but I started the video off and went straight through. I didn't do no filler talk. I just went from A to Z. So if you want to go back, if something you missed, or I might go back and do chapters, or I might re-upload this and do chapters or something like that. I have to see. It usually do automatic chapters for me, but we'll see. But yeah, it's a lot of information in this video. Um, Guys, the sentencing, man, it's just now is I don't think he's gonna get life imprisonment. Let's say if he have to do 15 years, right? Medea, do you know if he gets sentenced to 15, how much of the 15 does he have to do in the feds? I don't think it's all of it. I think it's 13, maybe. Any way you look at it, he's like almost 70 when he gets out. I mean, depending on how well he took care of himself, he's still got a lot of years left in him. But at 50 some years old, you don't want to be in the feds. The feds is day to day. Okay, what? So he got to do the whole 15? Yikes. You said 15 years. Okay, let me see if I had that written somewhere. I thought I did. I think I have it. Let me see. Let me switch through here. I think it is right, Ryan, about 70%. How much time under 18 USC 3624B? Most federal inmates earn 54 days off per year for good behavior. That's about 15% off the sentence, meaning 85% must be served. For a 15-year sentence, 180 months, that works out to approximately 153 months, 12.75 years of actual prison time. So the calculation is 180 months sentence, that's 54 times 15, 810 days equals 27 months equal 153 months off. 153 months you would have to do. So 85%. It used to be lower than that, but it's 85%. Back in the day, it was day for day. So, and there's other programs he can get into as well. I forget what my cousin was saying. He said there's other diversion programs. He said that they don't talk about that he will have action in. Like he said he will be the one. He said depending on what jail Diddy was sentenced at, he was sentenced to his, he'll be the one to tell him about it. He said there's different diversion programs, educational program. He don't need it though. He don't need the educational program. He'd probably be able to teach in there himself. But there's different, like for example, drug treatment programs could get his time shaved off. He said there's different programs that can get his time shaved off. He said, so let's say if he get 15, he get certain program. Okay, he gets a certain program. They could shave 5 years off his time. Different things like that, whatever he's eligible for. And he said also, if he's a model inmate, just don't get in no trouble, there could be some programs that he's eligible for. He said he's gonna do a podcast like Suge. But what he said, what my cousin did, he got sentenced to 10 years. He got sentenced to 10. And he wound up doing 7.5 of the 10 years because he got some stuff shaved off and he got into a program and he was teaching in there and he did in a law library. And I'm telling you guys, that 7.5 years went by fast as fuck. It did. I remember we went and got him. Listen, when we went and got him, the shit was hilarious because he told us to bring him some clothes, right? This dude came out looking like an imam. Like he had the full Islamic garb on. Y'all said, damn, this dude Muslim. He came out Muslim. He said, yeah, I gotta go. What time is it? I gotta go pray. Yo, praying 5 times a day. There ain't nothing wrong with that, but he came out with the beard and everything, straight Muslim. And now we were taking bets. How long before he get off his dean, right? How long it's gonna take? You know what I'm saying? Because he's still fresh out. He's still in the program. He's still like that. He's still straight up Muslim. He go to the mosque and everything, even to this day. And you know what he told me? He said to survive that, I needed religion. He said the key. He said even though I didn't have life, but he said the fact I had to be there every day. And he said, yeah, he got married. BS. He damn sure did. He got married. He got married to his high school sweetheart. And she Muslim too. She converted as well. Yep, they got married in Vegas. And then they went to I forget where they went, but they got married in Vegas. But he literally, the judge said to him before he got sentenced, he said, the judge said, you could easily be sitting in my seat. You could easily be sitting in my seat. She said, I did my research on you. You're a very, very smart guy. He said, I made a bad decision. And she said, I like the fact that you say you made a bad decision. And she could have gave him more time than that. Because I remember when she gave him the time, I was like, damn, I'm sitting there like, Lord have mercy. Like I almost passed out for him, but he was happy. You see what I'm saying? He was happy. And I was like, damn, yo. But at least he wasn't that far from where I live because I had just moved to Virginia. I moved to Virginia in 2002. So I could go see him. Because he was in he wasn't too far from where I lived at. So I could go see him every now and then, which I did. And I remember he was like Muslim in there. Then but the time went by so fast. I remember we had to go get him. It was me, his mother, his sister, his now wife, and my other cousin, which is his brother. When he was up, and his brother was in MDC. And this is crazy. I got crazy ass family. So his brother was in MDC. He was the one in there complaining about the food. He said, "Bro, the food in there is cold." And I remember we went to go get his ass too. Al, he never been back either. He's never been back. None of them. They never went back. But the oldest one, we went and got him. I never forget. He had his full Islamic garb on, yo. And we was laughing like, yo, he ain't gonna be like, give him a couple days. He gonna be back eating pork and all that, right? I don't eat pork, but he said, nah, man, I'm staying on my deen. He said, this saved my life. I'm staying on my deen. So he's still like that to this day. But his brother, on the other hand, he had got caught up. He was in MDC because he had violated. He violated his terms and conditions of his parole. So he had to do the rest of it in MDC. And I remember he said, I'm never going back. I promise you this. He said, that place need to be shut down. He said, bro, they got rats up in there, bro. He said, you got to have your boots on so you can kick them. And we sitting there like, we didn't believe him. Like, what are you talking about? He said, you gotta keep your slippers on or your boots to kick them motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? He said, then once you train them, they don't come back in your joint. I said, bro, I really don't know what he's talking about. He said, these rats, they're not the size of cats, but they bigger than average rats. Right? You see what I'm saying? And this is how he talked. You see what I'm saying? He talked just like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, like he's like God body and shit. Look. This is crazy. My other his brother is full-fledged Muslim, and he God body. If you know what I'm talking about, he God body, right? He said, "See what I'm saying? So I'm doing the math with you, man." I had just talked to him not too long ago. That's why I said I'm doing the math with y'all. That's how he talked. He said, "Bro, the rats in there, they're a little bit average size rats. Okay, they're European rats." I'm like, what's the difference? He said, yo, this different species of rats. Okay. Guys, he's an exterminator. He got his own exterminator business. And he got inspired to do his own exterminating business because he was up in that joint with the rats. He said, bro, one day I was sleeping, yo. There was a rat by my foot, yo. I had to kick the rat. He said, I kicked him. I was like, bro. And then he said, it's mad cold up in there. He said they served the food cold. He said he had to make a fire out of the socket, out of the wall socket. And to this day, I don't know how he did that, without electrocuting himself. But he said he was taught how to do it. You make you a fire so you can heat up your eggs. Because they serve the eggs cold. A hard boiled egg and it's cold. But I'm like, yo, why is it cold? He said, bro, because everything in there, everything is cold in there. And then he said they give you some mystery meat. It ain't spam, but you don't want to eat that. And he said they give you a carton of milk, carton of orange juice or apple juice. They give you an apple, right? You get your apple. I'm forgetting an orange. And there's something else he said. But he said, yo, I'm never going back in that spot again. Never. He said he don't even want to go by there. Never. I couldn't even get him to come up in the federal building with me to see Diddy. He said, I can't do it. He said, I can't do it, man. He said, I got violated up in there. You heard? That's how he said, I got violated. No, you violated yourself, yo. I remember when he had to turn himself in. Either he turned himself in or they came and got him. I forget how that worked. But anyway, he was at MDC. But he said Diddy is on his own. He's on the, I forget what floor he said he on. He said he's not with the regular population. He said he's up there in the high profile unit, you know, the ADSEG, administrative segregation. So he said I remember picking him up. He was mad skinny when he was coming out. He lost a lot of weight. He said, because I wouldn't eat the meat up in there, yo. I just straight up drank water and ate fruit, yo. That's all he did. He spent a year up in there, a year, almost 2 years. And he lost a lot of weight. I thought he was sick. Because then when he got out, he had all this like he had like a skin infection or something. It was crazy. I had to take him to the doctor. It was crazy. But he said that place is, man. He said what's keeping Diddy sane is his family. Straight up. He said he probably do a lot of reminiscing on the old life. You know what I'm saying? He said that's when you really start like, he said you can literally go there in your mind. You know what I'm saying? You start reminiscing. So it's not a crazy. That's why I say I'm not just all willy-nilly trying to put him away. You know what I'm saying? Because he's already in a harsh situation. I guarantee you he already learned from what he was doing. He learned from this. I guarantee you he did. From the way he was explaining how harsh it is in there, I know he learned. He learned from this already. I don't think he'll go back. Yeah, that's just my opinion on it. Like, I don't think he's gonna go back, though. But then again, I don't know. It only time will tell if, you know, but I just think I think it's too harsh, man, for people to be going through that. That's just me. Especially if you haven't like killed anybody and you got to sit up in there. That's my worst fear, man. I get I get accused of something and I got to go sit up in there. I remember he was telling me, he said, if you ever have to go in there, God forbid, mind your own business. He said, if you see something going down, mind your own business. I'm like, I don't want to go up in there, bro. He was like, mind your own business. He said, I don't even want to repeat what he said, but he said, mind your own business. He said, before they come after you. Crazy. Crazy, man. You said he would just feel like he can get away with anything. Nah, I think this is a life changing experience based on what people are telling me what it's like in there. You know what I'm saying? That's hell on earth, bro. That man, well, what's her name survived it? Jelaine Maxwell was in there. She was in there too. She complained about the harsh environment. Jelaine complained over it. Said it's bad up in there. Yep, she complained. She said the conditions and everything else is like Terrible. Then he was like, don't be in there in the summertime. He said it's mad hot. You know what I'm saying? And wintertime is mad cold. Like there's no like it's a little bit of heat, but not much. And then he said he think they did that to cut down on the germs. You know, but yeah, man, stuff like that, man. I just don't make me want to go in there. It's crazy. But when he came out, he had all his like law stuff, his crates, like all that shit. Dude, that stuff right in the garbage. Some of the stuff he kept, but man, that's the only thing I can remember. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So I think we went over everything really that we supposed to go over, but we'll see what happens, man. Next week, a lot of things will be answered next week. A lot of the stuff with the trial will be pretty much over, and they, closing statements. We already went over that, so we all know what's going to happen with closing statements. So, like I said, this is my first like federal situation that me going there. Like I had family caught up, like I said, in the system, but they didn't take it to trial though. They took plea deals, so I didn't get a chance to experience it because I was, but he took that plea deal so quick. Like I said, it's crazy, man, because for me, that type of time they were giving, and I was like, bro, you good? I'm looking at a decade. I'm like, damn, that's a lot of time. He's sitting there jumping for joy, man. I damn near passed out for him. 10 years. Shit. He said they don't be giving. He said that's like the minimum. They don't be giving that at least. They don't be giving that like 3 years, 2 years there. They don't be doing that in the feds. You getting stretched out anytime you look at it, you're gonna get a stretch. He said you're gonna get stretched out. But we know now what's going on, at least. What's up, Rachel? You said you kind of feel sorry for Diddy, but he's been playing with fire a long time. He should have stopped. But see, here's the thing. He didn't know what he was doing was illegal, though. I don't think. Except for The requested for that hotel video. You know why I think he paid that money? Because he didn't want it going to TMZ. It wasn't like he was trying to hide from the police. He didn't want that to get out to TMZ in the vlogs and stuff to mess his image up. That's what I think. But I get what they're saying though. That's kind of like, extortion, bribery. Excuse me, bribery. So I get what they're saying, but for me, I don't think that's like really with his intent, man. I think he didn't want it to go to the he didn't want it to go to the vlogs and stuff. Because it went to the vlogs and got out there, everybody be talking about it because they mentioned it. He didn't want it going to like TMZ. What's up, Yana Williams? You know what I'm saying? So that's how I see it. That's how I see it right there. He didn't really want to have it out there in the public for scrutiny. But as far as like hiding from the police, no, I don't think that was his intent. He wasn't thinking about that. Even though he said to her, "Hey, the police is coming," he was just lying to her, because he wanted to talk to her. I don't know why these people walk with their dogs off the leash, and there's kids out here too. I don't know why they do that, man. It's a nice, well, look like the weather's gonna hold up. We supposed to be getting a hot one. Next week is supposed to get up in the hundreds. So yeah, he did all that and it was still leaked. You know how I think it was leaked? Because the guy said that he recorded it and showed his girlfriend, so he always had a copy. I know what people are trying to say when he made him sign that non-disclosure. It said that he could talk to police. That's not good enough. I know what people are trying to say. That's a way to get out of it because he said they could go to the police, but nah. We're looking at straight the law and how it's being applied. They're trying to say they're trying to get him for bribery. You said Diddy was still under the influence of the drug addiction when the deal was offered. The lawyers couldn't convince him because he thought, yeah, that too. That too. That's why I say this is very risky to take it to a jury because we already went over the possibilities of what could happen. We covered everything today. Things done in the dark will come to light. Damn, everything came to the light, Rachel, on his sexual desires. I think we know too much. We ain't have to know all that. I was sitting up in there. This guy was sitting next to me. She said, "What have I been doing wrong all these years?" He said, "I wish somebody would pay me thousands of dollars to have sex with that woman, and she was hot." He said that too. He meant it. I said, "Well, if he get out, you might want to hit him up. He might have work for you, because he don't mess with no. He have arm candy at all times. So you might want to hit him up. But this time he might want to do it the legit way. He might want to have make it legit. I don't know how you make that legit. Turn it into a business, sell the foot. I don't know. Hire actors or something. Because I'm thinking about the adult film industry. How do they get away with this? They pay people to cross state lines for the purpose of commercial acts. How come they don't get charged? Because there's a loophole. There's a legal loophole that he has to follow. Yeah, man. There's a legal loophole that He might want to entertain that. Go to Vegas or something. I tell you what, if he get off this, I don't want to do no more. I wouldn't want to do no more free golf. That's what I'm saying. BS, what can he do to make this legit? Because he can make a lot of money doing this. He damn sure could. If he started an adult entertainment company, he'll make that money back. That money he lost, he'll make that back. Because you know people are signing up for the subscription. You have some deviants out here. One thing is I know about adults is this. They might seem normal on it, but they have some weird things they like in the bedroom. Guys, the biggest freaks, guys, listen to me. The biggest freaks are the women. And they won't tell you. You have to get it out of them. You have to know how to get it out of them. If they comfortable with you, they'll get it out of you. You'll get it out of them. They want this and that. They got all type of safe words like they want to use. Guys, I'm telling you, that's why you need to be more. You need to know how to communicate. She ain't gonna tell you outright when you first meet her. She ain't gonna tell you. She gotta trust you. The next thing you know, them high heels coming out. Them stripper heels are coming out. They coming out, guys. They coming out. They have all type of desires in their mind. It will come out. You can do all type of role plays with your lady. That's why you only need but one. You only need but one. You don't need to have a whole team. And not at our age. You having a whole team, now you stressing mental health. Now you got mental health issues dealing with. Because now you got to worry about keeping your lives together. She don't want to be in the dark because they want a return on their investment. And also, the older the women get, the worse they get. The older they get, the older they get. They're like, oh yeah, you into the heels and stuff? You into that? You into role playing? They'd be into it, guys. I'm telling you, you've been on lock the new cheat code. You know how like you playing a game, you unlock a new level. You've been look. I might have been the key. Somebody listening right now, I might be the key to opening up your relationship. You can thank me. My cash app is $MaxVWorld75. If you like to donate to the ministry, I might have added 10 years to your marriage. I might have saved your marriage. All you got to do, take her out to dinner. Okay, this is what you do. Take her out to dinner. It don't gotta be nothing fancy. Take her out to dinner, have a little walk in the park. If you're in the New York City area, go to Brooklyn. There's a nice park over there. I ain't even giving that away. I'm not gonna give you're gonna have to inbox me. I'm not giving my spot away. It's a spot that's overlooking Manhattan. You know what I'm saying? You can walk over there. It's overlooking Manhattan, right? Take her on a nice walk. And then next thing you know, just have a conversation then. You know? What's up? What's up, D squared? What's up, Joe? You know what I'm saying? So next thing you know, you might unlock the new achievement. Next thing you know, like Max, man, thank you. All you had to do was communicate, open up the lines of communication. You might have been together 5 years. It might be a little dull now in a relationship. Okay. It might be, you know what I'm saying? It might be a little dull. The next thing you know, you're sitting up there role playing. You ain't got to take it to the level Diddy did, though. Shit. And leave social media alone, guys. Okay. Leave social media alone. Don't look at the booty models. Leave it alone because you want to build it up. Don't be looking at the adult films either because you got to build it up. You got to build up the sensitivity again. Telling you, man. Next thing you know, you don't unlock the new level of achievement. Thanks to Max. That's right. You're welcome. You are welcome. Yo, remember, guys, the older they get, they have all types of stuff in their mind, yo. Take a trip out of town, rent a hotel, you know, all different things you could do. You don't have to be out here getting in trouble. But he need to turn that thing legit. If he gets out and turn it legit, he gonna make millions, millions. Cause he still had what's her name out there. I ain't gonna say her name. She out there glowing. She out there flowing and glowing. Cause she was looking mighty good on that stand. She was. And I said that. This lady looked at me, must you? Must you? What do you mean, must I? She do look good on the stand. She do. That could be his business partner. You kidding me? They could turn this into something big. But the problem is he got to get out of this situation. That's the problem. Lord have mercy, Diddy. And if he had just kept, like my friend said, if he just kept the domestic out of it, he'd have been straight. But no, he got into something. He got into the lifestyle where he couldn't control it no more. That's what happened. You know, he got into the lifestyle where he couldn't control it, and then the drugs, and that's a bad combination. And he messed with a young filly too. You gotta be careful, guys. You might mess with them young fillies. You ain't gonna be able to control it. You ain't gonna be able to control it. Get you an old lady and settle down at that age, man. What's wrong with y'all? Okay, you can't sit up there and have a stable and you're in your 50s. Come on, man. You can't sit out here and have a whole damn stable. Like, especially my age, you got to slow down. You got to leave that to the young brothers. You know what I'm saying? You know, trying to have a stable and you're in your 50s. You're gonna mess around and drive yourself crazy. Now, we already went over that anything for clicks. If he gets sentenced under 15 years, you know he cooperating. Because we already went over that. There's only one way that the judge, especially that mandatory minimum is 15. We already went over it early in the video. The only way that he'll get sentenced under the minimum, unless he cooperating. We won't know. We won't know. I bet you he's sitting on information that they want to. Listen, them prosecutors just waiting to talk to him. You understand? They're like, Mr. Diddy, we can get you resentenced. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We'll get you resentenced, brother. You now our friend. you now what we call an asset. Oh, yes. You got anybody bigger we could take down? We'll get you up out of here. But so far, as far as my knowledge, he being solid. He ain't saying nothing. Guys, I will go viral. If he beat this whole case, I'm going to go viral. I promise you this. You know, when he walk out of that courtroom, because I got to vote, you are not going to ignore me. I'm be like, bro, I have now crowned you the new Teflon Don. I will crown him right then and there. I'm going to crown him. I don't give a damn who all around him. I'm gonna stop him from moving. I say, sir, I'm crowning you right now. The new Teflon Don. I'm crowning your ass right now. I'm crowning you. I'm crowning you right now. The new Teflon Don. Because you sat up here and beat the feds. Okay? Because them attorneys on the other side, they good as advertised. I promise you this, because I've been watching. They ain't no kind of joke. Maureen Comey? Oh my God. And what's the other lady name? I forget her name. Boy, these ladies are good as advertised, bro. Yes, they are. He said, Carla said that ninja ain't. Look at Carla. See, that ninja ain't beating the feds. Carla, well, you stay tuned, because if he do, you're going to hear my voice on CNN everywhere. I'm going to be loud as hell. I crown you the new Teflon Don. I crowned you. I crowned you. And I'll tell him, if you need a new assistant, I'm right here. But I can only work for you about 6 months now, because I ain't trying to be with you 24/7, Diddy. God damn. I work with you for 6 months. I worked with you for 6 months. I need 300K. And I make sure his shit go legit. Straight up. I said, look, you got to calm down, getting on a program, but we got to turn this legit, bro. We got to turn this legit. The hotel nights. See what I'm saying? And I'm always thinking, how can you make this legit? Bro, when that guy if you go to Armand Wiggins' channel, he interviewed one of the talent. He said this dude came out there with a hoodie on, with uh, a bandana on, with shades, and the hoodie is tied tight to his face. You know how crazy that looked? I don't even know how he performed. I'll be thinking something about to happen to me, man. That looked crazy. I'll be like, bruh, what is going on here? Something ain't right. Something is not right. But you got to think about it. Something ain't right. I'm like, I don't know about all this. He's sitting up there with a whole mask on, looking crazy, talking crap. But like I said, we went over everything we possibly can go over today legally, what could happen. So he already know that. He's already aware of everything. How much time he had? How much time who had? How much time he facing? He facing a minimum of 15 if he found guilty on everything. He better hope they don't run it consecutive. He hope they don't run some of it consecutive. He looking at 60 years. Oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me now? I had my mic gave out. Can you hear me now? Like I said, hopefully he'll get in some type of treatment program, to correct the situation before it happened again. That's what I said. Get in some type of divergement or treatment program so that it won't happen again. Drug treatment, sexual addiction treatment, some hardcore treatment, like not no somewhere that he got to stay for a while. Like he got to stay for 6 months or something at a time. That's what I recommend. Because if not, it'll happen again. So you got to think about it like that. You got to think about it like that. Because if not, it will repeat itself. So he needs some type of treatment. Got to have some type of treatment. But believe it or not, this wasn't the craziest case I followed, though. Believe it or not. I know y'all like, what's crazier than this? Kellen Winslow. When we fought Ryan and YouTube Unfolded, you remember Kellen Winslow case? That was crazy. He's a former football player. He played at the University of Miami. He's the son of Kellen Winslow Sr., Hall of Famer. And Kellen Winslow played in the NFL, too. He was a tight end, just like his father. And, boy, his case was crazy. He wound up taking a deal in the second trial. Right before the jury came out, he took a deal. Yep, he took the deal. This dude he was worse than he was worse than Diddy, man. Straight up. I know you like, who could be worse than that? He was worse than Diddy. Okay, Kellen Winslow was off his rocker though. He was off his rocker. This dude was in a gym. It was some old people, dude, old woman, sitting there in the pool with him. He's sitting there exposing himself, choking his chicken, man, just so she can watch it. He was going heads up with her. Remember when Boosie explained it? He going heads up. He going heads up, Vlad. He wanted to go heads up with her. He wanted her to see him doing it. That's what he was doing, yo. Then he picked somebody up off the street to give him a ride, and then did what he did with her, man. It's crazy. Now, I'm not trying to make up for it, give you a reason for why he's doing it, but I'm going to tell you something. I played football, and football is not normal. It's not normal. Now, imagine if I played all the way up to the NFL level, and I was a tight end. So I was a tight end, so mean I got hit. And anybody whether you in high school or whatever, you're going to get caught out there. Every football player knows what that is. I got caught out there twice. Now, what does that mean? A hit that you don't see coming and knock you clean the freak out. Okay? My mother never used to come to the football games. And one football game she did come to, her and my aunt, I got knocked out. They didn't come to none of my other games because they had to work. And next thing you know, they sitting up there in the stands, right? And I got knocked out. And next thing you know, I'm waking up, my mother and my aunt standing over me during a game. During a game. You know how embarrassing that is? She said, give me your helmet. You ain't playing no more. She said, the Lord led me out here. My aunt, rest in peace to it. She started bringing the Lord into it. She said, I knew it was a reason for us to come out here. She said, the Lord brought us out here. The Lord, because I knew something was wrong. The Lord brought us out here, and you up here getting hit upside your head. Yes, Lord. She took my helmet and everything. And people laughing. And the coach like, get off the field. He was cussing at him. He said, get off the field. You're not allowed on the field. And he was like, get off the field. You're not allowed on the field. She said, you ain't telling me nothing. I'm getting my boy out of here. And this and that. And my mother's sitting there co-signing. That's right. That's right. My mother ain't even saying that. She's sitting in back of her co-signing. Give me your helmet. You are not She said, well, we got to figure out if he's all right first. You can't move him. So then they asked me what day it was. I didn't know. I didn't know what day it was, and I didn't know why I was out there. So I had a grade 4 concussion. Next thing you know, I had to go to the emergency room, and then here they go, and you ain't playing that football no more. She said, not Naramore, not Naramore. Now, when somebody say it like that, she country, she from North Carolina. You ain't playing that not Naramore. Now, you know what that means, ever again. You ain't playing no more. I said, Mom, you ain't come to no game this year. And the one game you come to, I get knocked out. So give me a chance. She was like, no. She said, I knew you were getting knocked out. The Lord led me here. The Lord led me to you. I said, I thought y'all were going shopping. What are y'all doing here? It's like, the Lord led us here. And my ass got knocked out listening to her, yo. I went back and played again. And here she come at the next game on the sidelines, standing on the sidelines like she a coach. She said, you know what she said to the team? Don't hit up each other upside the head. Don't do that. And she prayed over us everything. She prayed over us and everything. Don't y'all get hit upside the head or y'all call the game. And she said, what the hell are he doing in the game anyway? The first game I went to, he wasn't playing. Why he out here? He said, ma'am, will you stop? Yeah, man, that was crazy. You know it was bad. I had grass in my helmet, everything. It was bad, yo. It was bad. But you know you're going to get caught out there. So I got caught out there twice. And the second time, that was a dirty hit. He hit me up. He hit me helmet to helmet. That was a dirty hit. And I was not clean out on that. They had to give me smelling salts and everything. I had a concussion on that one. That was near the end zone. You know, right there where the pylon is. I remember because the pylon got stuck in my damn helmet. Shit was crazy. They thought I was like seriously hurt because I wouldn't move. I wasn't moving. So you're gonna get caught out there. That's just the name. That's the nature of the beast. Especially that tight end position because you know you blocking, but that wasn't a blocking assignment. And I caught the ball. Boom, knocked me the hell out. And they weren't worth nothing on Riddell helmets. I had a Riddell helmet. It wasn't worth shit. It was not. Not how they are now. I had another dude on my team. He went on to play for Maryland. Boy, he was punch drunk. The way he talked. I don't know how. To this day, I don't know how he passed the SATs. I think somebody took it for him. I swear he couldn't read, yo. But he can read that playbook. He said, I ain't had the nerve to stutter too. He said, I don't have a plan B. I just want to play football. That's how he said it, yo. I just want to play football. And come to find out, he was 3 years older than we were. But they lied about his age because he stayed back so much. Ain't that some shit? He stayed back 3 times, yo. How you stay back 3 times, yo? Back then, if you stayed back more than 3 times, they just passed you. You know, for the sake of embarrassment. That dude was a grown-ass man playing with us, yo. Grown-ass man. But it was found out when he went to college because he couldn't pass nothing. And he wound up dropping out. He started, he got into, you know, entrepreneurship, though. He started selling pharmaceuticals. He started selling pharmaceuticals, man. He got into the entrepreneurship and got locked up. Crazy, man. But it was a fun game. It was fun while we played, I must say. It gave us something to do. It kept us off the streets. I wasn't going to be on the streets anyway. But that football is dangerous. 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 Yeah, he got into the pharmaceuticals, man. because we just knew he was going pro. He was really good though. He was a linebacker. He was really good. And then we had another linebacker on our team. He was from the Rainbow Society. Wayne. His name was Wayne, yo. From the Rainbow Society. But this dude could hit. He was a linebacker too. He could hit though. He could hit. He said, "I got you, bitch. I got you, bitch." I remember the other team, we talked shit. Look at the little, y'all got the little bitch. He said, "I got you, bitch." He said, "Wait till I get in the game. I got you, bitch." Man, he took that dude clean out. He took him clean out, gave him a concussion and everything. Yo, Wayne was like 250 pounds, yo, linebacker. And they clocked him in the 40 he was like a 4.5 in the 40. At 250 pounds, he ran a 4.5. 4.5. He went on to play for Delaware State. He went all 4 years at Delaware State. Yep, he played at Delaware State, yo. Delaware State. He was really good. We thought he was gonna go pro. But at that level in college, shit is hard, yo. It's like hitting the lottery to go pro. But bro, he used to lay people out. He said, "I got you, bitch. You won't call me a bitch? Okay, honey, I got you, bitch. I'm still a man. I'm still a man." And he straight up clocked it. I known him since grammar school, so we didn't care that he was in the Rainbow Society. That was our boy, yo. But I tell you one thing, messing with him, he had all the women at the games, all of them. All came to see him. I remember he said it to that dude, "I got you, bitch. You won't call me a bitch? I got you, bitch. I got you." And I remember I used to, because I had blocking assignments and all that. I used to clock people too, yo. We used to do it, yo. I got clocked one time. It was this defensive end from the opposing school. He was like an All-American. I was like, Lord have mercy. Why do I gotta block him, yo? Like, why? He just looked like he was from the insane asylum. Snot coming down his nose. It was just all bad. He hit me one time, yo, because the play wasn't over. He hit me while I wasn't looking. Laid me flat out. His girl laughing and everything. I said, "I got him next time. I'm going to get him next time." I fucking chop blocked his ass and took him out the game. And the thing is, they don't do that. They outlawed that. You can't chop block nobody. You can't do that. I got his ass back, took his ass right out the game. Took his ass right out. I sure did. Because he hit me. He didn't have to hit me, even though the play wasn't ruled dead yet, but he hitting me was not going to change anything. He hit me, laid me the fucking, knocked my helmet off and everything. Knocked my helmet off. People say, "Ooh, ooh, ooh." I said, "All right, I got you. I'm going to chop block your ass." I sure did. I chop blocked him. Sure did. Took his ass right out. I think it sprained his ankle or something. And then I was getting high fives and all that, but that's illegal. You can't do that, now that I look back on it. Yes, indeed, man. Yes, indeed. But football, the reason why I say all that is because, like, Shannon Sharp, he had that recording come out. He was like, "Hollywood, what you gonna do with it?" That's that football, yo. Shannon been knocked out a couple times. In the NFL, he took NFL knockouts. So Uncle Shannon ain't right. He not. He not. Especially at that level, you gotta have a level of rage in you. It's called controlled chaos. You gotta have a level of rage to actually to do your thing in that game. Yeah, Sharp is nuts. I don't care what nobody say. You playing like the longest yard? Yeah. Yeah, he's playing like the longest yard. And then they don't really do fullbacks no more. I played a little fullback too. You blocking and all of making room for the running back. I did the defensive line a little bit, but I wasn't big enough. Now I am. I wasn't big enough then. You got to have a certain weight on you to play the 3 technique. You know what I'm saying? I look like I need to lose some weight because I look like I'm ready to play the 3 technique now. and that ain't good. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm sitting out here in the sun, getting a little sweat on me. You know what I'm saying? Laying off of the carbs and all that. But yeah. I remember we played this one team, yo. It was a white school. Like I just say white because they were all out in the suburbs. Del Barton. Man, they ran amok with us, yo. This guy, I was blocking. Me and him, it was like going after the whistle. He was shaking me like a rag doll. I said, all right. I said, I got you, rag doll. I got you the next time. Went and took his knees out. I sure did. I took his ass out of the game. Out. And you know what I'm saying? That ain't good to be promoting. Took his ass out. I hit him when he wasn't looking. Boom. Took him right out. Took him right out of the game. And I was crazy. I had face paint on. You would have thought I was in a insane asylum. My whole face was black. I put all the paint on my face. Just not wrap tight. I said, we might lose this game. I said that we might lose this game, motherfucker, but I'm gonna take your ass out the game. Watch. I'm gonna get your ass when you ain't looking. And I got his ass. Boom, right between the numbers, knocked his ass out. No, my helmet hit his chin. Went right. I shouldn't, you're not supposed to be playing like that. But back then, I led with my helmet right to his chin and took his ass out of the game. That's it. But that makes your body ain't meant to be doing all that. But I needed my get back, shaking me like a rag doll. You said Shannon played with Bill Romanowski and John Lynch. Listen, bro, Bill Romanowski and John Lynch, them was killers, certified killers. They were. Bill Romanowski, well, he wasn't rap tight. Romo wasn't rap tight. He was not. And John Lynch, he didn't look like he played football, but he was a killer. He was a safety, I believe. That dude was a certified hitman. Certified. My all-time favorite was Steve Atwater. Steve Atwater, man. Ronnie Lott was another hit, man. He invented the woo hit. Because after he hit you, everybody, the crowd go, woo. So he called it a woo hit. You know what I'm saying? That's some old school shit. The Legion of Boom. Remember the Legion of Boom? Yes, sir. I love them. I love that type of football, the Legion. Now you can't do that no more. It got soft now. The Legion of Boom. It's nothing like laying a hit on somebody, taking them out the game. You know what I'm saying? When we lost the game, we still high-fiving and I took his ass out. That's right. Yeah, Ronnie Lott was he was a straight beast. Ronnie was a straight beast. Yeah, he was like, bro, he will take you out. He would take you out. He would take you out of the game, and that'll be it. And also, what's his name from the Steelers? He was straight illegal. He still looked like he can play to this day. I forget his name. Still looked like he can play. That he was illegal when he hit you. I think it was almost illegal. But that's how I used to be, man. So that's what I'm saying. These football hits and stuff, they not rap tight. You don't play over 10 years in the league and be rap tight, yo. Not if you have a high contact position like a tight end or especially if you're on the line of scrimmage. If you playing on the line of scrimmage, you're not rap tight. You can't be rap tight to play, especially you playing the 3 technique. You can't be rap tight. You have to have a level of violence in you. You have to play that game at that high level. You got to be a violent individual, and you got to be violent with your hands too, because you're moving a man against his will. One of the best to do it was Warren Sapp. He's one of the best. Warren Sapp, the three technique, he was one of the best. One of the best. I can't think of no other. He in the Hall of Fame. But you had to be violent. You had to be violent. Your hands had to be violent because the offensive linemen at that level in college, they 300 pounds or better. 300 or better. So once they get their hands on you, you can forget it. You especially like we covered the Aaron Hernandez case. Remember the Pouncey brothers, his friends? Bro, their hands were so violent that they recorded their punches. It's at lethal level. When they punch you, that first punch to knock you off your pivot, it's so violent that you got to have a level of violence to play them. You had to have a level of violence. You know what I'm saying? Hit them between the numbers and knock them off and grab them. That's why the people that play on the line of scrimmage, they're not normal people. A lot of them, after they play, they make good bodyguards. They're not just like that guy, big homie CC. You could see it in his face. He not rap tight. You could see it. You could see it in his face, and he's a gentleman. You know, he know how to turn it on and off. But if he get his hands on you, it's a wrap. It's a wrap if he get his hands on you. Just like Big Gene, he ain't rap tight either. You can see it in his face. As old as he is, he get his hands on you, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Ain't nothing you could do. It's a gladiator sport. It's the ultimate gladiator sport, man. Especially the game is won on the line of scrimmage. That's where we share pleasantries about each other's mother. Okay? We did all types of stuff. We don't got intimate with each other's mother on that line of scrimmage. Whatever you can do to take him out of his game or whatever. Talk about his old lady, whatever you got to do. I remember one time, yeah, man, it's just violent. That's the only thing I can tell you. That's why these guys be getting cased up, man. They don't play football no more and their heads ain't right. Their heads are not right. I don't care what nobody say. You play in the NFL over 10 years, you're not right. That line of scrimmage, dog, that's where it's at. Like I got experience on the line, but I was blocking. But I was a tight end, so sometimes you have blocking assignments. You know, we call it max protection. So you got to do what you got to do. You don't want your quarterback to get leveled. So sometimes it's a very violent thing we used to do. We hit the person between the numbers and our helmet go into their chin, yo. I used to do that shit a lot. That my head was a weapon. We don't do that no more. They call you for that now, you get a penalty. And in fact, I mean, if you're offensive lineman anyway, you wouldn't have to do that now. You train and shit. Like I'm telling you, they're striking techniques, man. They're striking technique. They're violent people. Violent. You get paid to be violent. How about that? That's how it go, man. Not normal people, man. Diddy, only thing I could say is he's in the hands of the jury. He's about to be in the hands of the jury, man. He's about to take it what we call all the way to the door, and he going to the jury, baby. That's what's happening. The jury is gonna have to decide whether he get back on out into society. That's ultimately, guys, what he's headed for right now. As I close out, he's headed to what we say all the way to the door, or Medea say he going to the box. The box is what we call the jury trial. I mean, the deliberation room. He taking it to the door. Because that door is closed. And they going to decide his fate. And they have the power, guys. They have the power to get him back on the street. But who got the ultimate power is the jury. That's it. They're going to decide it. It could take, they could deliberate within an air. They could deliberate, it could take 24 hours. It could take 48 hours. But ultimately, his fate is in the hands of the jury. They're the most important people in the courtroom, man. That's why we say all rise for the jury. All rise. And you know I'm gonna have to go through the whole thing right now. So what's gonna happen is they're gonna deliberate. Everybody gonna be waiting in the break room, or we gonna be waiting outside for the official word. And the next thing you know, they're gonna be like, guys, they reached a verdict. The world gonna be watching. The world's gonna be watching. They're gonna be like, guys, we officially reached a verdict. Because we're gonna be on verdict watch when they go to the deliberation room. And then next thing you know, we're gonna get those magical words. Guys, the jury has reached a verdict. Lord have mercy, guys. If they reached a full verdict, oh my God. It's gonna be on and popping out there. We all gonna rush to the courtroom. The judge gonna come in. He's gonna say all parties are here. I verified that all parties are here. The defendant is here. I understand the jury has reached a verdict. The warden will be like, yes, bring them in. The jury come in, all rise for the jury. He gonna be like, the jury foreperson, I understand you reached a verdict. Yes, Your Honor. Pass over the jury forms. Let me review them. He gonna review the jury forms. After that, you may publish the verdict. May the defendant please rise, please. Please rise. Lord have mercy. Will the defendant please rise? United States versus Sean John Combs. We the jury on count 1. Under USC, under US code, whatever. On count 1. We the jury find the defendant not guilty. Lord have mercy, Lord. I might fast out if that happen. That means he's gonna be found not guilty on everything. That means it's gonna be not guilty on everything. He gotta get that first one out the way. If it say not guilty, Lord have mercy. United States, everybody please keep your emotions down. Keep your emotions down, please. United States versus Sean John Combs on count 2. We the jury find the defendant not guilty. Lord have mercy. It's bedlam now. Guys, it's bedlam. Lord have mercy. Now he's getting a nod from his attorney. Tenny Garrett goes, I got you, baby. You good? No, Brian still gonna be like, I got you. He hugging him at this point. We got you. On count 3. United States versus Sean John Combs. We the jury on count 3. Find the defendant not guilty. Guys, Lord have mercy. Now he's about to fall out. Count 4. How do you find the defendant not guilty? Count 5, not guilty. Now say not guilty, not guilty. Whew. Then the judge like, thank you, jury. Thank you for your time and service. We thank you for your patience throughout this 6 or 7 weeks. I will speak to you in the back in the deliberation room. If you want to talk to the media, you're now free to do that. But I will talk to you to have some parting words in the back for you. Mr. Combs, you can rise. Mr. Combs, you can go. You can go. Mr. Combs, you out of here. You can go. You're now back into the world. You're now back. You're now back into the world now. Now, or it can go like this. United States versus Sean John Combs. On count one, we the jury find the defendant guilty. Whoa, Lord. Lord, I might need some milk. I might need some milk. Whew. They're like, Max, what's wrong with you? Woo, Lord. Lord Jesus. I might pass out. But it might be like that all over again. Not guilty, man. See, I'm with them, man. It's just us against the system. You see what I'm saying? Us against the man. The man. The man. I know y'all like, who is this mythological man? We know who the man is. It's the man. Okay? The man. He trying to beat the man. So that's it. Okay, so let me just do it. On count one, the United States versus Sean John Combs, title code, and they say the number. We, the jury, on count one, find the defendant guilty. Whew. On count two, we find the defendant guilty. Guilty. Lord have mercy. Defendant can sit down. Now they putting the cuffs on him. Yeah, they putting the cuffs on him. And then the judge like, okay, jury, we thank you for your service. I'll talk to you in the back. You are now free to talk to the media. Thank you for your service. And I will talk to you in the back just with some parting words and to thank you again for your service. As a citizen of the United States, this is your duty and you did it to the best of your ability. We thank you. And the jury walks out. All rise for the jury. They walk out. Okay, Mr. Combs, the jury has now rendered a verdict on not guilty on all charges. No, first, before the jury leaves, would you like to poll the jury? His lawyer's gonna be like, yeah, we like to poll the jury, meaning juror number 8, is this your verdict? Yes. Juror number 13, is this your verdict? Yes. Juror number 10, is this your verdict? Yes. And they'll go down the line. Okay, we polled the jury, and the jury can leave. I'll talk to you in the back. The defendant, we have now, the jury has now rendered their verdict of guilty on all charges. We now move for sentencing at a later date. And they just have to do some other things, some other maintenance issues, and that's it. He takes off and he walks out in handcuffs. That I don't wish for the family at all. I don't at all. But Miss BS, we don't went through a lot of these cases. We know how this works. We don't went through a lot of them. This is business as usual. We went through a lot of cases together. Oh my God, the bling bling bishop. Bishop Whitehead, Bishop Lamore Whitehead. He found guilty on everything. they found that man guilty on everything, Ms. VS. He in the feds right now. He got 10 years. He got 10. Yeah, they make you move your tie, your laces, but he don't have no tie on. Diddy don't wear a tie. But Diddy, if he's prepared, he probably know that's going to happen. Then he'll talk to his lawyers. Well, all right, let's get ready for the appeal. You know what I'm saying? Now they got to fight the ultimate fight. I remember my cousin got sentenced because he didn't go to trial. He wrote a letter to the judge saying that, he made a bad decision. The judge was in tears when she was sentencing him. I'll never forget it. Everybody was in tears. She was in tears when she was sentenced. She said, I don't want to do this. She said, this is the first time in my career I didn't want to do this. She said, you're a really, really good gentleman, fine gentleman. She said, I know you're going to come out and you're not going to come back. And she said, just please, keep in touch with me. She said that to him. She said, I know you're not coming back. But she said, I got to do my job. He's like, yeah. And his mother was there. But his mother already knew what it was going to be. They knew. I didn't know. I'm sitting there like, God dang. And the crazy part is they didn't take him off right away. They let him talk to us. Isn't that crazy? She let him talk to us. And he said, I'm never doing this again, and I apologize, I'm never doing it again. That seemed like eons ago. He's back in the world now. He was facing, yeah, Miss VS, if he had went to trial, he was facing 20 to life. This was on drugs, though. And get this, he had co-defendants. One of them told on him. He had co-defendants, but he didn't give up nobody. He took it like that. He didn't give up nobody. That's when I had brought up that, when I talked earlier, I said the only way Diddy can get out of that 15 to life if he give up information. So I've heard that before. But one of his co-defendants, he took that joint to trial and lost. Bro, he's still in jail right to this day. He's still in there. Still in, man. But yeah, man, those were the days. But he was telling me, he said, bro, he said, what I told him, what did he think? He said he thinking about his freedom. He thinking about his family, you know, stuff like that. He thinking about reaching one person on the jury. That's what he thinking right now. And he said he believed they may have reached somebody. He said he may have. He may have reached somebody. He said if he reached somebody on that jury, man, it's a hung jury, but he don't get out. He had to fight it again. But he could negotiate a better plea agreement the next time. We just had somebody that grew up with us. He just got out last year. He did 20 years. He did 20 years. He just got out. He did 20 years, bro. 20 years. Just got out. He did all that money. He did all that time. 20 years. He got out. It's nothing to play with. The feds is nothing to play with. Yeah, the judge gave Nature Boy time to think about the deal, but see, here's what Nature Boy wasn't thinking about. He was looking at that time they were giving him, but he didn't look at the time that he was eligible for parole. He'd have been eligible for parole in 10 years. He wasn't thinking that. He was not thinking that. He was thinking about that whole time that he had to do when he should have looked at the paperwork. It said that he'd have been eligible for to get out in under 10. It was under 10. So he messed up. He should have taken it. He would have been out. But granted, that's a long time. That's a long time. But at least he would have had, like my cousin say, the daylight. He knew he had an out date. Now, here's the thing I'm going to tell you. He said, just because you got an out date don't mean that you can't go to jail and get more time. He said, you know what I'm saying? What if you get in a fight, hurt somebody? Now you got more time under your belt. But he said going into the hole and stuff and wilding out, you still going to get out. You know what I'm saying? But he's talking about if you seriously hurt somebody or something like that, you get more time on your case. It just depends on how you program. It depends on what your program is. If you go in there and program, you know what I'm saying, make use of your time, you should be straight. But you still got that element of danger, though. He didn't read the deal carefully, Ms. VS. He was eligible for parole in about 9 years. Okay? And he already had time served. So it would have been 7 years, 8 years, something like that. He didn't think about the time he already had served. So, but now he's fighting the system, and we already know the percentage on the feds. The percentage in the state level is not that good either of beating the appeal and getting it overturned. It's not. He may have action in effective counsel. He may have it. Because his lawyer didn't do nothing. He did nothing at all, man. But even that, it's hard to get in effective counsel. Now he got life without the possibility of parole plus 25 years. Get that. Life without, life in Georgia is 25 years, just to let y'all know. Life is not life. Life is 25. So he got life without the possibility of parole plus 25 years. So he got 2 life sentences with no parole. So when they say life plus 25, that's 2 life sentences. So Nature Boy got 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole. That's what he got. He got 50 years with no parole. Oh, life is 30 in Georgia? I didn't know that. So he got 60 years with no parole. And what I got to understand is with the type of charge that he got, with that the type of charge they gave him, Georgia don't play. They don't play. He should have took the deal. He should have taken the deal. And I don't think the deal required him to register. From what I've seen, it didn't require him to register. He just didn't read it correctly. There's a case we followed before this, Brenda, involving a cult leader. It's not alleged no more. He's been convicted. And he got convicted of the R word and kidnapping. False imprisonment, I mean. Plus revenge porn. Okay. So he got 2 life sentences with no parole. Essentially. Meaning that he don't have the light of day. He's just buried alive. But he still got action though. He just got to believe, stay in the law library. I don't know how he's doing his time. Is he staying in the law library? Is he petitioning to the governor? He can petition to the governor. He might not know that. He can't petition to Trump. He got petitioned to the governor. And we know that that's a long shot. So that's it, man. Georgia don't play when it comes to those type of charges. But he got a cell phone. He got that in there. Yeah, and he gave a statement to the police. Because the situation may not have happened like we think it happened. I honestly believe it happened like he said it happened. But the fact that she still said no. But she might have gave in to him. That's not good enough in the law. All she had to do is say no once. And it's over with. And the interrogation is over. Yep, so that's it, man. Anyway, guys, let me get out of here. I'll be back later. I will catch you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.